get the 3 items safely.
It definitely does feel like it might be in Kai'Sa's position in terms of drafts, where it has to work really well with their comp, but also it has to do well into what you're playing against, as you mentioned, as a lot of the pros mentioned. So you can't really first rotation it. Thankfully, we're not getting a lot of first rotation AD carries, so maybe she gets some play. Starting off with 2 of our most OP mid laners, Taliyah and Azir, taken away right away.
Yeah, the Mel bug was discovered after this patch, so it is still banned on this patch, to the surprise of no one, I imagine, at this point. So that is why she is still globally banned. Pantheon's going to be taken away. The Azir is still incredibly strong, was not tapped on this patch.
We did see Pantheon played once.
Yeah,
and I think that will be the last time we see it here. Unless we get into a really weird Game 3 state where a lot of things are left open, and even then I think it's a bad idea.
I'm starting to wonder, there's no shock to see this Lehen's ban here as well on the Shen. I'm starting to wonder if Wukong fits in that 3rd spot though, Valdez. You and I were kind of taking a look at those stats, hitting 70% win rate right now across many, many games. One of the most played junglers right now in the LCK. They'll take away Viper's Varus instead though, and guess what?
You know who's also really good at Wukong? It's Peanut.
Yeah.
And Wukong right now is really strong himself.
That's not really a surprise here. Also feels pretty decent into the Trundle pick that has risen in priority so much.
Yeah.
So it's just a safe all-around pick. Protects your AD carry, can work well with dive compositions. It does weaken your pre-6 gank power for sure, but I feel like right now in this meta that doesn't matter as much. It looks like Gideon's just going to be happy to trade the Xin Zhao pick here. The question is what comes with it, as Taliyah and Azir are both gone. We often see a mid laner picked in this position. It's up to Calix.
Yeah, there's also the Gwen Rumble situation. Sure. Both of those getting left up.
Doesn't matter which one you pick first, I guess, in that case. A lot of people are happy to play the Rumble into the Gwen. A lot of top laners are happy to play the Gwen. If I'm thinking about Kingen, I'd rather see Rumble in terms of his individual performances, but it'll be the Annie here instead, which is pretty safe. Into the Wukong, it does give you a lot of engage. And it's also one of those mid picks that feels very safe to blind in almost any situation. We have seen Galio played into this a lot. Zeka loves his Galio. Galio works well with Wukong, but I think it's a bit too early in the draft to lock that one in.
Yeah, could consider something like an Orianna as well. Does work extremely well with the Wukong. And
there it is. Wow, you and I are kind of, we're one of trading in terms of our Preds on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing this combo a lot, so not the most difficult one. There's the Rumble, which might be taken away from Kingen. There it is.
Yeah, so a lot of power with the setup here with a ball carrier, the Shockwave, and then Equalizer could be potentially layered on top of it. Makes it very challenging for Annie to approach and get those flank angles. This has been a pretty risky pick into the Rumble, but it can take over the side lane, and often does, unless there's an incident in the top lane or you just get camped, which against the Wukong you should be relatively fine. This is the more common pick, though, that we talked about, and it is going to come through here. We don't know what the AD carry setup is going to look like just yet, but I think in terms of conditions for Yunara, I like potentially Hanwha Life's draft a lot more because they have that Wukong on their side. They have the stronger engage overall, and Annie's really strong with engage. Xin Zhao is as well, but with the Wukong to peel, maybe this could be an angle for Viper. I'm not going to predict it, but I'm saying it's viable. It's maybe Valdez.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what gets left up here. A lot of thought put into this one. Kai'Sa, another big pick so far in round 3. Well, I guess we're in round 4 now, but for round 3 was 6-1. So definitely a very winning AD carry. A lot of teams pick it in very specific situations with dive comps, and what we're looking at right now with Hanwha Life looks good, and Viper's Kai'Sa is insane, so I like that ban.
Makes a lot of sense. See what comes next year in terms of setting up for safety. I was wondering if the Alistar was going to still be in this second ban phase, kind of permaban. Took a huge hit to armor. 7 armor is no joke, especially with what it's going to do to your laning phase, especially at level 1. So I wonder if we'll see that drop. Not just yet here, though. Lucian will also be taken away.
Yeah, I do wonder about the Rakan right now, because Rakan with Wukong is also insane and fits perfectly in the Hanwha Life Esports draft. They don't ban it, so
maybe they're looking to pick it away, potentially, but would be quite a risk. The final ban here, it'd be funny if they just banned the Braum, like both of the supports that got hit with the early armor. It could ban Rakan if they're expecting it to be picked. The Nautilus will be taken away, which has been a big favorite of Lehen's, even though he hasn't found success with it. We saw Peter also picking this one up as he was going to play Yunara into Wukong Orianna.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Wolf. You saw how it went in the LEC. I think that Hanwha Esports will be even cleaner with their engages.
If there wasn't a Wukong there, I'd be like, oh my god, I mean, they got the Gwen, they got the Shinshao, they've got an Annie, that's really helpful, help peel, like this could work out. But, you know, and also this is going to be fantastic into it, the wave clear you're going to have in mid. Looking for the Rakan, but I think the Sivir still 100% works here.
Yeah, Rakan is free, Sivir enables the whole comp. Zeri could be kind of like a hyper carry that goes well with the dive comp as well.
It helps clean up after the Equalizer eats those health bars, and you have so much follow-up engage. Xayah is an interesting choice. It's basically saying we both have incredible engage, but also safety, but Xayah can even follow up on this engage, and when you have this much of a hard engaging Wukong, the range that the Xayah has, the range problem she often has, doesn't matter. Now this is an interesting tech here to bring the Lulu in to assist the lane phase. It's going to help out a lot into the Rakan. You know, some pro opinions have differed on Yunara's laning phase. Some are saying it's quite strong, some are saying it's very situational, it doesn't really work out too well. I think with the Lulu it should be fine. The key is pre-6, you have to stack your Q before you can use it, so you cannot be interrupted. You have to constantly be auto-attacking, and sometimes that can mess up your wave state. And if you don't have something with you like a Lulu that can help you put that pressure on constantly, it's hard to make sure you can hit those stacks and take the trades you want to. I think Gio should be able to get out of the laning phase just fine. It's the R buttons on the other side I'm a little bit more worried about.
That is a big worry, especially in the current meta where it's all about team fights, all about objective setups, and you've got this Yunara who's got about 8 different things that she has to deal with, and the many different engage options on the side of Hanwha Esports. It's a risk, to say the least, and I think Hanwha got a Grand Slam draft here compared to what we see on the side of Nongshim.
I mean, the empowered W for Yunara can help keep Wukong away if used at the right timing. You know, it's like a 99% slow. You know, you get them at a distance for a second. Sure. Maybe the Annie then peels for you, and you got that Zeri swinging. I think it's a risky draft for the side of Nongshim here, really leaning into the new patch, whereas Hanwha Life has something that's robust and proven.
It does what it says on the tin, as Atlas would say, and I think we're going to see exactly that here in Game 1. We are ready. Let's hop into the rift for Hanwha Life versus Nongshim.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, here we go. Game number 1 of this matchup, and game number 1 of Yunara in the LCK. We did have it 4 games in Challenger League. DK's Wayne, HLE's Pyunshik, KT's Padak all got wins, and then Lazyfield from DRX got a loss. So it's been played a lot down there in Challenger League.
Yeah, coordination isn't as crisp in Challengers, but often you would think playing a AD carry like this could be trickier in those situations in Challengers because it's just always fighting, always engaging all the time. You're going to have a pretty aggressive position here for Delight at level 1, but Calyx is not even going to waste his stun for that. So Ghost here, I think, is going to be kind of the standard common summoner spell for Yunara because it allows her to chase down. And when you're winning a fight, and she wins more so hard because her W slows, so you get chased down, you do tons of damage with your Q or your ult, which allows you to just have Q on demand. You don't have to use the autos. And you can Ghost to chase as well. Gives her some additional mobility when she is potentially caught. But Ghost isn't going to be what's going to save you into a Wukong who's on top of you. But it is great for mobility. So here's some of that trading early here that the Lulu is going to allow for.
Yeah, just got to try to dodge the Gleaming Quills and yeah, getting the zoom in on the new champion. I like it. Definitely going to be some early lane dominance to Yunara Lulu. And there's the light. He hits it, so little heal comes through. That's the annoyance of the Rakan. Sometimes doesn't care about the lane if he can hit his Qs.
Yeah. You guys could see her abilities to the bottom left. Just keep an eye on that Q stacking keep an eye on this. That's not the trade Calyx wanted. You know, I wanted to say earlier, and I think I'm happy to say it. Like, in the LCK, I want to say our AD carries hit a little bit different than other regions. What may be risky in one region is a little bit better here in LCK, but I think that's not accurate. Maybe what we should say is our AD carries don't get hit different. They don't get engaged on. Their positioning is phenomenal, and sometimes a pick like Yunara works better here, Valdez, because positioning is paramount, and our AD carries are so good at it. As Gideon does have vision control. This Barrage, they're going to punish, potentially.
Yeah, excellently done here by the side of Nongshim. The bait is just perfect, and Calyx sets it up nicely. He's just sitting there like a piece of candy, essentially, and then Zeka gets caught, and there was nothing he could do. No attempt to flash away because he was already dead.
That was a really nice bait there, as you guys could see. Debut, first game she is available. She's played, which is actually quite an anomaly for the LCK. We often have strong champions that are just permabanned for a while, or a little bit more niche. You know, you don't see it for a day or two before it comes out, so happy to see that we get this one right away. As Zeus is really controlling this lane up here, and even though Peanut is a pre-6 Wukong, they can't put the pressure onto Gideon as this lane swap will come through. A ton of minions being lost in the bottom side. King doesn't have to TP as soon as possible to get what he can of that. So watch this again. Like you mentioned, it's a bait. Calyx here has his stun prepped, and look at this. Goes in for the flash. As you can see the moment Zeka realizes that something is wrong, but it's just too late.
Yeah. It's really, you know, even if he Qs as well, like the anti-Q, you know, maybe he could like get some distance, flash away to the left, or the right bush rather, but the fact that he flash W's in his anti just means there's no counterplay, so nice job controlling the wave and collapsing in and taking advantage of that situation. Not going to be a fun time for the Rumble to lane into Yunara and Lulu, that's for sure.
That's for sure. See how long he wants to keep this up. Does have his TP for now. The tempo did go to Nongshim on the faster swap. They sacrificed a few minions down there on the bottom side for it, but Kingen was not having a good time in the lane anyways. Feels like it's a pretty good setup here for Nongshim at the moment, as long as Kingen can get into some of those minions. But it's a similar issue here for Zeus. We'll have to get what he can under the turret. And even though we had that kill to go over to Gideon in the mid lane, Zeka holds flash advantage. As, yep.
You saw that Polymorph come in trying to deny the cannon, but he actually got it anyway. So that was really funny. It was actually a good attempt by Lehens, but
clean.
Wasn't meant to be. You see Zeus backing, maybe thinking he's going to get dove here. He's pretty weak situation in that top lane being pushed in.
Peanut is going to go for this dragon here, despite the fact that scuttle control is not theirs. I think this is wise, as we're going for an all-in.
Yeah, the dive is pretty good, but the flash on in, the last auto gets it done, and he trades onto Lulu. Adu's going to hold on to his flash, though.
Yeah, I think that's a win, though, for Hanwha Life. I mean, Lehens gets the kill with the Ignite, and it's a Rumble that gets the kill in exchange there. So, you know, if that kill goes over to Jiu, I think this feels a lot better. He is definitely playing towards that late game with the cull he's purchased here, and that would have been a lot of money for him to pick up, but he's not quite able to do so. Zeus still had TP as well, so gets straight back to the lane here and can shove this wave in. No problem. Does pick level 6 up as well. And the prio that they had in mid, because Calyx got the kill, right, but he didn't have flash, and they maintain that control with the Orianna, means that they get that first Drake here, and they get it so quickly that the grubs are still available. Topside control is potentially flipping on its head. Zeus is in trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't have flash, and he's going up against the Polymorph, so I think he knows he's dead at this point, and there it goes. They give the kill over to Jiwoo. You saw that he got level 6, and he was thinking about putting down the equalizer, but he didn't. Got a little greedy, stayed up in the wave.
So this is the initial play here. Zeus plays this really well. Does have his overheat available. Even though the polymorph timing is great, he's still able to do just enough damage there with the flash forward onto Lehens to get the kill. And Lehens, unfortunately, steals it away with the Ignite. Now this arc, you see that Geo W there that comes through, is deceptively insanely powerful in these types of skirmishes because it's an insane slow. And there's just no way that flashless Rumble can get out. So nicely timed gank there from Gideon.
We got a little play here, some trading as Delight is just walking by, and now Calyx in a bit of trouble. He doesn't have his flash, and yep, 1 QW gets it done. That's the command attack in there.
It's really important for Zeka to have a lane-dominant performance like this, especially after dying early, to continue that prio, to set these plays up. Viper will have the flash.
Yeah, just kind of walking into the river, and he's going to get punished for this big time. No flash, no ult, and the kill is given over to Kingen on the Gwen.
That's a pretty huge win for Nongshim there across the map, as we have the teleport gank from Lehens.
Yes. Can they actually get the kill? Not with this TP coming through from Delight.
Yeah, so it's a trade of support TPs, so ultimately not the biggest win here, but still something. Zeus is chillin' though. I would say big chillin' even.
He is, very much. He has been pressured quite a lot, and yet still he's doing very well. It's just another look at the play on a Calyx.
Yeah, sometimes you want to go for these tempo ults when you're getting pushed in like this, but it's just not a trade you're going to win into the Orianna. I mean, the fact that Delight is there means he dies, but I don't know if that was really the angle he was looking for. Here, Viper just takes the wrong path into the river for some reason. Kind of an unusual, uncharacteristic mistake for a player who's so storied. Does have his ultimate, so I guess feels a little bit safer, but I'm not sure what the idea was there. He's punished for it, and also, like you said, loses his ult, so both of his safety tools gone. His ult will come back before his flash, but that's a huge win for Nongshim, who are significantly ahead in gold here in this early game.
Yeah, you can see their bottom lane is doing very, very well, especially after that kill that went on to Viper. He's denied some farm. And, of course, the kill and the assist that went to Jiu, who was making some plays up in top lane against Zeus. So that's going well. The jungle's going very well for Gideon, who is quite ahead of Peanut at the moment. So really for Hanwha Esports, it's just kind of the mid lane. I mean, Zeus is doing pretty well himself, but it doesn't feel like he's ahead enough. But we'll see as this game comes along. I mean, 1,000 gold at 9 minutes is actually pretty significant for Nongshim already.
Yeah. I do think that still some of the questions we have about how this Yunara team fights will still be there, even if she is now doing quite well in the lead, as Zeus going to have to equalize.
Yeah, the needle's going to miss, and still doing a bunch of damage. The exhaust already used. You see Zeus spacing very well, but he's still going to lose the trade, technically. Peanut and Gideon show up, so I think we're going to have a stall in the action.
Peanut does have Flash and Cyclone, so Kingen, I think, will have to just be willing to let this crash. I don't think he wants to be walking up there to try to go toe-to-toe here with Zeus, even with his jungler there. It does respectfully do so. I'm most concerned about what's going to happen when we start getting to dragon fights here, because even early, this composition here for Hanwha Life just kind of slaps. So, you know, it doesn't need items, it doesn't need massive item leads to win skirmishes, because it does so by the virtue of how easy it is to press the circle buttons. And for Nongshim, in this case, like, that's the cancel button, like the North American region on PlayStation. It's not the yes button. And I think the circles are going to be a bad thing for Nongshim. So let's see what happens. They are going to have prio around this dragon right now. You can see they have a ton of vision around it. In fact, like, there's not one entry point to the dragon for Hanwha Esports here. And Zeus is even going to get pushed away.
Yeah. Getting pretty strong on the Xinjiao means that wherever he goes, his presence is felt. Got a little dive here. That ward is going to spot the Lulu. And I think they're still going to go for it. It is Wukong and okay, it's just everybody. Instead of accept the Rumble as they go on in, they just dive on into the mist. The Lulu ult's getting some big value there. The Light able to tank up a bunch of the shots, but that power up on the turret is pretty significant. Now Viper is going to finish him off, as now Lehen's in a bit of trouble, but these turret shots are doing a lot of damage. Will it matter is really the question.
Looks like a flash. They have to be careful.
Eventually, Lehen's, I think, just dies. As, yep, there he goes. Peanut is going to trade, but now they have a lot of position here and pressure in the top lane.
Yeah, but somehow, yeah, Calyx got Zeus, and like they end up getting a ton of play gold for this Annie bottom side. This was a very elongated play from the side of Hanwha Esports, so it did not come without cost, and it doesn't actually give them a gold lead. And Kingen actually going to be able to stop the backs here, despite it being Xayah Rakan. They're not able to sync that one up. As this comes back to this play here where Zeus is just caught. This is why they decided to go for that topside play, so they know Gideon's bottom, but Zeus just ends up taking it. I thought Calyx picked up the kill, but it was in fact just Gideon.
I mean, you know they're going for a 4-man dive top. You have to be away from the turret. I think that's a bit of a mistake from Zeus and a good play from Gideon.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is they knew Gideon was bottom, I think, which is why they made this play in the first place. It took a very long time, by the way, as we're looking for this again on the Zeus.
Yeah, I think he's just dead again. He doesn't have his flash. He's just picking up minions and dying. I mean, he's 1 and 4, and Gideon continues to visit the Zeus thrift store at this point, picking up as much gold as he possibly can. Now 3-0 and 2 on the Xinjiao.
Yeah, this is a very big Xinjiao, and, you know, in return, you have a Orianna that's kind of ahead, but not that ahead. And starting to worry about how this mid game is going to look here for Hanwha Esports. So we may have just gotten to the point where this Gwen is going to be a huge problem. This Rumble is so weak that equalizers don't necessarily matter. So we're going to see a bit of a Hen's attempt here. I don't know what he was hoping was going to happen there, but Valdez, this game has gone a little weird pretty early on.
It's a lot of action, you know. We have a Mountain Soul that is on the way. I feel like that's going to be valuable for everybody, essentially. You want to try to survive against all the dive on the side of HLE, and then on the side of Nongshim, there's a lot of burst that you want to avoid. Just feels like both teams really are going to want to pick up the Soul and even the individual Drakes.
It is incredibly valuable for, you know, picks like the Wukong, the Gwen, Xin Zhao, but even a pick like Rumble is happy to have those extra resistances and be able to sit there and queue on top of people for just even an additional second actually makes all the difference. Redemption picked up here for both supports. That has kind of been the go-to, not even just for enchanters sometimes here at the LCK. It's just so incredibly strong in elongated fights. Which can really help against Poe because King avoids the Harpoon. But I thought that would amount to something bigger, and it didn't.
He did avoid it, though. We got to zoom in from Jonah Strong at the same time, so you know.
Jonah Strong also seemed like he thought maybe that something was going to happen.
It must have meant something. All right, zooming in, and Viper, at least in this 1v2, not going to have a very fun time, that's for sure. Maybe trying to set up for something bot, but there's no objectives here at the moment.
Could look for a dive, potentially, with that mid-prio. Topside Herald isn't spawned yet, so I think Hanwha Esports definitely need to just back away. Do not try to hard force here. Don't have the numbers advantage on that bottom side. Yunara is very strong in the neutral when AD carries move to mid. It's something a few of our pro gamers mentioned in the pre-show. That is definitely one place where she can bully, especially when it's just a 1v1 interaction with a low-range AD carry like Xayah. I can see that at work already here for Geo.
Yeah. One thing I really like about Yunara is the sound that her autos make when her Q is empowered.
Very satisfying.
A little bit of positive feedback about the champion.
Yeah.
The way she plays, you know, I think we have yet to see what it's going to look like in LCK pro level. We've seen a little bit here and there, other regions, Challenger League, etc., as we mentioned before, but have yet to see. So far, it's looking pretty good, but we haven't seen a real team fight yet. And that's what we mentioned, you know, this Hanwha Esports composition, that's where it's really going to shine.
Yeah, it'd be funny if this game was actually just decided by Gideon and everyone's like, see, I guess Yunara's viable in the LCK.
Yeah, that must
Gideon got 3 kills early. As they're going to get this turret, it looks like here. Not really much King can do to stop it. Does get the redemption out, but it still goes down. Yeah,
and now he's getting knocked up, and the exhaust comes through. Shockwave as well. Counter exhaust comes in from Kingham, but he just doesn't have his ult. He doesn't have enough sustained damage. Another redemption going to come down. Tries to get the kill on the Delight, but eventually he just dies instead. As Kingham going a little bit too far there.
Kingham is definitely one of those players that, even on a fragile champion like Rumble we've seen in the past, he will try to skill check you. He's like, oh yeah, no, actually I outplay this if you guys think you can get the turret. Even on this Gwen though, unfortunately, he played it really well, but maybe the better choice would have been to back away. As, oh boy.
Gideon does not have his driver's license.
Yeah, minus 5 points on the test, I think, for scuffing the...
For crashing the car, I think you failed the test immediately.
Well,
actually.
I mean, it's kind of like you bumped the bumper on a higher curb. It's one of those low cars, you know. Like, I can give him the benefit of the doubt for that one. He almost made it through, sort of. It happened.
That turn is finicky.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Maybe he'll at least remember to, like, slow down at the railroad crossing and, like, take a look out the window. Calyx is going to get ulted. He is dead.
Yeah, he tried to rocket belt out of the shockwave. It didn't quite work out. Delight did nearly die, but keyword being nearly there, he is going to stay alive and help make the play happen.
I mean, they got the first turret. They're one objective away from feats, and they're going to get the second turret here for them of this game. So a lot of gold here for the side of Hanwha Esports. Remember, they were significantly behind in the early game, but they've really turned things around. And especially that lead in the mid lane for Zeka has kind of exploded here in this one. And if your Wukong is behind the enemy jungler, it doesn't really matter that much when it comes to team fights, actually. And it's not that significant of a lead anyway, so you can see that gold lead finally breaking through here.
Yeah, like the fact that Xin Zhao is strong is good for Xin Zhao, but Wukong still does his job, even if he is behind.
Mina may have to try to make a heroic play to stop this dragon, Valdez, because Nongshim are just on this so quick. They just do not stop it.
They got vision, and he was like, should I? And then he just elected not to. So, I feel like maybe he could, especially with Flash, but instead, he says, it's just one Drake, no reason to get crazy. Not yet.
That ends up being Nongshim getting feats of strength as well, and they're looking for potentially more here, but it's just going to be that aggressive Xin Zhao knock-up. We still haven't seen the team fight power yet here for Hanwha, and I think that the commitment topside there and that really heavy push from Zeka, even though he had TP, was not necessarily the best macro read. I think they could have come down here for the contest. I think before this Yunara starts to explode with items, you know, that's when you want to strike. Already has the Yuntals, is about to hit that second item, IE here, very soon, and the 3 items is where, you know, she's at her scariest, but even at 2, if you don't have a huge lead, and, you know, if an engagement goes wrong, or you don't have prio, I mean, we may have, I don't want to say oversold how easy it is to shut down Yunara with Hanwha's comp, but if they never fight her 5v5, she kind of is like, well, I do a lot of damage to Dragon when I press Q, and we're going to get that one, and we're going to get more resistances now, so I'm a little bit safer as well.
Yeah. I mean, the Lulu's a great choice from Lehens, because not only was it good in the lane, but it also is going to be fantastic against all the dive. It keeps your Yunara in a much safer place. Calyx, he keeps trying to do that. It's not going to work once again. And now we got Gideon. We got the redemption as well. Lehens here as well. Will it matter, though? Calyx goes down, and now we got a 1v1 between our AD carries. Viper soon realizing that he does not win that. And now TP's coming in. A bit of a broken team fight as a flash. But it's not going to amount to too much as Equalizer comes down. Gideon is just burning so low. Jiu looking for his angle, though, on the left side. Doing an insane amount of damage with these autos. And HLE immediately just going to try to back away. Maybe looking for the re-engage here as Zeka trying to TP. He's going to get out, actually. Even with the auto coming through, looks like he does live.
Wow.
HLE very carefully get out of there.
That was such an ideal scenario for Yunara. Like, everything is used elsewhere, and you can actually make that aggressive play forward. Gio was like, this is it. I'm going to get a triple in the first game.
My moment.
Because so much is used before Gio arrives that he actually has a ton of agency. And I think one of the critical moments you can realize here and how much game knowledge Viper has in a moment like this is he realizes he actually probably has to be the one to stop this Yunara from getting out of control in the fight. Because everything else is used. Cyclone is used. They use the Orianna ult as well. I can see this moment where Viper's like, I gotta try to look for this feather call to catch Gio, otherwise we just cannot win this extended fight. And this ult from Zeus really saves things. If he whiffs that or if he doesn't have it available, I think they just get run down and Gio absolutely obliterates all of them. They still have to use the defensive TP. It's still a wild scenario here, but I think, you know, that could have gone way worse.
47 HP is the call on the Orianna. And now we got Otacon started up here. We have the Annie TPing in at the same time. No TP for Zeus, so maybe trying to burst this one down, but again, this is very difficult, especially because Dio doesn't have summoners. And he's getting flanked on right now. It is going to hit Jiu. They try to engage onto Isaiah. And now Zeka on the left is in a bit of trouble, but the rest of the team is just pressing forward. And Yunara is the first one to go down. This is exactly what we talked about. They just press their engage buttons, and Yunara has no summoners. And they're doing Otacon for some reason. I don't know, Wolf. HLE get a free team fight, and it looks like they'll get a free Otacon too.
Yeah, it's going to reset here for a second, so we'll be annoying, but it should eventually go down. Yeah, this is like the, remember how I was just a moment before, like, this is the perfect situation for Gio. This is the worst possible situation for Gio is he gets equalized here initially, has to then avoid Viper's feathers, and then gets caught by, as he chases forward towards an Orianna, the Shockwave. As they did not kite back, they wanted to aggressively win this, and I think Nongshim, with how close that fight went last time, they almost felt like they had like buyer's remorse that they couldn't quite get the value out of that last fight that they thought they should have gotten, so like, you know what, we'll just do it again. But it did not work out. And that's kind of the sort of team fight we expect to see with Yunara, but with some caveats. Obviously, she didn't have Flash. They were doing Otacon, and Viper was able to find a scary feather angle. But maybe chasing there was probably not the best situation for Gio, unfortunately. He maybe chased himself here. I don't think they can commit. That's a rumble.
Yeah. just a bit disappointed. You know, I feel like Nongshim had a really good angle against a team that, you know, even their head coach was like, you know, I kind of expected us to go 0-12. It's a really difficult group, you know? And even Nongshim are very self-aware of it, but they had such a great start to this game. And now I feel like after that one mistake of a team fight, they might be in a lot of trouble here, Wolf.
I think so. Still no flash for Gio. Cyclone's back. Viper's ult's back. And you don't have a lot of mobility. He has a lot of damage towards this dragon, but it's only a matter of time. TP here for Kingen. Zeus is just going to take the walk over. And that TP angle not great here for Kingen, but here comes the Calyx flank.
Yeah, trying to go in once again. The engagement Delight is excellent. And the Shockwave follow-up is gigantic. Just catches everyone. And nobody has summoners. Gio still doesn't have his. It's just the perfect situation for HLE's comp once again. Kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but you guys get it. Gio now left alone to, well, who's going to get the kill? It will be Peanut, and he is going to get it. So 2 team fights in a row. HLE just knock it out of the park.
Combo. Like, the flank angle here for Calyx is such a detriment to this comp. He does blast cone in to try to help out, but he's denied entry by the Wukong, and then it's this combo here with the Equalizer. Like, you mentioned it in draft, like when you're like, oh yeah, Orianna Shockwave into Equalizer with the knockups and the potential charms from a Rakan. Like, it could happen. It usually doesn't happen like that. You know, we're like, yeah, it could be a crazy wombo, but the fact that they're able to just pull it off so easily as the Annie is just denied any relevance in the team fight. Gio, he didn't get caught. We'll give him that one, but the fight was over before he could auto. So.
Yeah. He understood his duty, essentially. It's like, I don't have flash, but my team is calling for this fight. Lahen's, yeah, well, Lahen's also understanding his duty, which apparently was to run into the dark jungle and try to get vision alone as Lulu.
Yeah, that's the thing about Lulu is when you're losing the game, you're not really gonna get the vision back.
Yeah,
in most cases.
Well, so yeah, Wolf, I don't know. We had the 2 team fights where nobody had summoners, and, you know, Rakan, Wukong, Orianna, Rumble press their buttons.
It's crazy that, like, I mean this sincerely, as Peanut,
he's got a little bit of help here from Zeka, and there's the Shockwave. It's not going to do anything to Gideon, but it does keep them at bay. And now Viper's here. That's going to force the flash. TPs are, you know, coming in into top lane by Lahen's, but no real fight is breaking out.
I mean this really sincerely, but you remember that Equalizer in that fight where Gio is popping off, where Zeus locks out Gideon and they can't follow up?
Yeah.
Like, I think if that doesn't hit, Gio might actually get a triple kill, and we talk about this game completely differently. And we're like, wow, I guess Yunara's viable if you just position well and you fight your fights at the right time. And man, they wasted their engage tools. I mean, the potential is real. Like, this champ is so fed now. Like, imagine he has 3 extra kills. They win that fight. They take that top turret. It's crazy, like, how something so small like that can be a big difference maker. But then they kind of spiraled out of control with some poor decisions after that. The positioning there in that last Drake fight, the Otacon, was the real final nail in the coffin.
The real battle.
The real lost battle, in fact, where the game was, in fact, likely decided.
Yeah. Also the draft, too. I think that you're not generally going to want to see Yunara into this kind of composition, you know. You can make it work, you know. It just feels like they kind of forced it. I think Nongshim did a little bit of like, we're going to draft what we want. And you guys can take what you want, but we don't care about what you want. We're just going to focus on ourselves. And unfortunately, they gave the, you know, God Exodia draft over to HLE.
It's greed, you know. It's basically saying, you know, Gio's ready for anything. He's screamed into engage comps. He thinks he can handle this.
Sure.
And you and I were a little bit more skeptical. But if you can beat the engagement with someone else, yeah, maybe. Yeah, they got womboed. The anti-flank wasn't it. They played that last dragon fight like they were trying to pull some trickery and be like, aha, got him with the flank engage. I'm like, but you're playing a Yunara comp. Maybe just keep the Annie nearby so you can peel. You need all the peel you can get.
Yeah.
As this is a Baron that Nongshim knows happening but can't physically see, and so they have to kind of come over here. Gideon does not have flash, so I don't...
Gideon is the one guy that they are worried about, and now he's just kind of out of the picture. Lens nearly dies, actually, to the burn, saved by Redemption. I mean, Nongshim are down 10,000 gold at this point, so... I thought
that was Delight's Redemption for a second. I was like, is he going to get the snipe?
That would have been sick. What if he did it, like, on top of it, and he killed her right before their one hit?
Yeah, it wasn't, though, so I got hyped for nothing.
Yeah, we could dream. That would be some insane new level supportal combat.
You can see the team fight wins for Hanwha Life. have involved 3 characters that all have massive KP, like the Wukong, the Orianna, and the Rakan. Who could have seen that coming? The Rumble has been pretty important in zoning and applying a lot of damage in these fights, but it's like Viper's playing this game like, well, I mean, I guess you guys don't really need me. Like, I will be there to help clean up, but it's really the combos that are deciding everything. And from this far ahead, it's so hard for Nongshim to play around those. I mean, the equalizer layered on top is just making it impossible to do anything now as Nongshim, and you can't avoid the combo when you're trying to come over and basically look for a Hail Mary play on Baron like Gideon was there. So, Twins all but over, Valdez.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like Viper probably could have played whatever he wanted in this game. You were talking about his Teemo. Maybe not Teemo in this one. I think he would have had a really tough time in the lane, but still. Gonna get the Feather Storm out, and immediately the rest of the team is there to follow up. Zeus will go down, but it will not quite matter. Kingdom in the back line, but the wallets are just way too heavy at this point. And even making it kind of a close fight, given the gold lead. Nice job by Nongshim, but this game has been over for quite a while.
It's really funny how you mentioned Viper playing this pick, and then like at that moment he was probably, no, Battles are pretty good with they're pressing the R on this one.
Yeah, I like the Xayah.
I do like the Xayah angle. He does ultimately die, but man, he absorbed a lot there, and the rest of his team cleaned up. At the end of the day, Hanwha Life Esports, maybe with a rocky early game, there's some issues in the side lanes, but with a 10,000 plus gold lead, do clean it out. And it ends up being a one-sided game once Nongshim make just one mistake.